Good evening, everyone. Welcome back to today's live session. We're on session number 26. It's been almost a whole month of doing this live, and I'm so excited to have you here. Before I was going live, I was checking the chat box. We have people who are already excited and waiting to do the learning, to come here live and to experience the joy, the success, the magic that we're creating here every single day. So, once again, from the bottom of my heart, thank you so much for being here. I value and honor your presence. So, without further ado, I just want to dive right in. And today's topic is finally going to do two major things for you. Even before I introduce the topic, I want to help you understand the power that it holds. The very first thing is it will give you the innate sense of peace you've been looking for such a long time. And secondly, it will give you the intense energy you need to go out there and achieve every single one of your goals. And I know when we think about success, peace, and achieving goals, these aren't quite often connected well for us as ideas inside our heads. We think if we want to be peaceful in our lives, we have to kind of let go of these big goals we have. Or if we really want to succeed and we really want to make it big, oh well, then forget about peace. You're going to be working hard all your life. Well, what if I told you both of those ideas are just not true? But the source of those ideas comes from this one flawed concept that the internet has made us believe in over and over and over again, and that is you are falling behind. Someone at 19 is feeling this. Someone who's 25 right now is feeling this. Someone who's 40 years old right now is feeling this. Someone who's at 70 is also feeling this. And my question is, if everybody in the world is feeling like they're falling behind, then who is actually succeeding? Who is actually moving forward? Who is actually creating momentum and results in their lives? Well, they are a select few. Apart from them, almost all of us are living our lives in this constant hurry, in this race to do more, to be more, to achieve more, to have more, to make more, to live more. But in that race, in that chase, we are forgetting that this moment that we have right here is perfect and it is enough. And I'll explain what I mean by that right now. So I want you to consider a simple example here. Let's say there are two people. We're going to consider an average of 25 years old. Let's say that's a pretty good average to consider for someone who's young, and that's the age bracket in which most people feel that they're falling behind. So let's take that age bracket. And then there are two people, okay? The first person has a good enough romantic relationship, things are going well, not so great. He has a job, he has a few friends, he has a few side quests that he likes to do, some things that he likes to explore. And basically, his life is work, friends, scrolling, Netflix, feeling like he's falling behind, trying out a few new things here and there, reading a few books here and there, and essentially the way a lot of young adults are living right now. There's a lot of hurry, there's a lot of worry, there's a lot of pace to the life, but there is no peace to the life. So that's the life he's living, where he's working, he's making money, he's doing good enough for his standards, but definitely not where he wants to be. And then there's another person, and that person is also doing a job, is also in a relationship, is trying to manage things for himself, and is trying a lot of new things all at once. But the only difference is he feels a bit more at peace and he feels sorted because he's let go of this idea that he is falling behind in life. Now, I know till now it only sounds more of like a philosophical concept, but I'm going to diverge into these two different pathways here. And as we imagine how life plays out for two people in two different ways, you're going to see exactly the kind of trap you might be walking into, which might promise you results, which might promise you fulfillment, but actually, all it will end up doing is burning you out. So let's go with the first person's case study, okay? Now that person feels he is falling behind. He really needs to make more. He really needs to do more. He needs to achieve more. So many different ideas are going on inside his head. So he takes hurried and desperate action. He says, okay, wow, a new business opportunities come my way. Let me try it. Let me go all in on it. Or maybe he sees someone on social media saying, try this one new trick or this new way of making money that no one's ever heard of before. Well, everybody's heard of it, but that person thinks this is the first time they're hearing it. So that excitement, that gold rush kind of feeling that this thing is going to change my life and make me a multi-millionaire in the next 2 to 3 years. And that's what the person's thinking. And that greed, that desire to do more, that desire to have more, that desperation that I have not arrived yet in life and I need to do way more to feel worthy of the success, love, and happiness that I'm getting or that I want, that's pushing him to action. So, what does he do? He ends up taking opportunities he sometimes regrets, sometimes without fully understanding where and how the business could work. He goes all in. Sometimes without even thinking through and asking himself, is this something I want to do? He does that out of the fear of missing out and out of thinking, oh, if every other 25-year-old is doing it, I must be do it too, otherwise I will end up falling behind. And through that lens of scarcity, through that lens of lack, through that lens of doubt, that what if I'm not able to do more, he keeps taking action, he keeps taking action, he keeps taking action. So here's what he is doing. Let's say this is the current life path that he can take. Okay, he's starting on it. There's some difficulty, there's some challenges, and then on the other side, let's say, oh, this new path is promising me 10 times more results in much less time. So he goes there, he shifts there. But then on that path, again, there are some more difficulties, and he feels, oh, everybody else is able to figure it out. Something must be wrong with me. Why I am falling behind? And then he sees, oh, okay, this another path that I can take. This is definitely gonna help me achieve big things in life. And he's jumping and jumping and jumping from one opportunity to the other, from one company to the other, from one job to the other, from one business to the other. Sometimes people even go from one relationship to the other. They keep changing in the search for something more, not realizing that the change and the search itself is sabotaging the more growth that they can get in their lives. And so now 10 years have passed. This person has some bit of good money because he was in a job for a few years, then in a business for a few years. But in a decade, the kind of crazy growth that he could have seen, he never saw that. Why? Because in the moments that the difficulties were highest, rather than breaking through them, he started feeling, oh, I'm falling behind. Everyone else has it easy. Everyone else already making it big. Everyone else is already at the peak of their career. I'm not, or they're the best relationship. I don't. And that fuels him to do more and more, jump opportunities and create a mess. But now let's look at the second person, okay? He's doing the same thing. He's living the same kind of life. Only thing is, he's not in this race with other people. He's in his own league. He's playing by his own rules and he's well aware of that. So he's also okay with what other people will say about him, with what they'll do, and all the other things and thoughts that come up for us, right? So rather than jumping from one opportunity to the other, this person's clear. I don't really have what it takes to build a business yet. I don't even want to take the risk. I'm going to focus on my job. I'm going to keep my head down. I'm going to learn. I'm going to grow. And I am going to double down on being the best employee. So I keep getting my promotions and I keep getting the growth that I want. And so even when things get challenging at his company, even when he's seeing his social media feed filled with the news every single day of this 20-year-old got his startup funded or this 27-year-old just became a multimillionaire, he's okay with it. It doesn't trigger him to feel inferior because he's aware of the race he is not into, and he's aware that I am living my life by my rules. And as a result of that, 10 years down the line, maybe he's started a own business of his own. Maybe he has not. Maybe he's just in the same job. But has he grown there? Of course he has. Has he achieved more? Yes, he has. Has his life given him more results than the other person who was just jumping from one place to the other and one idea to the other? When things got difficult, he felt like he was falling behind, but what he was not ready to face was the resilience that he needed to push through and create the result. Now, the second person who did not believe in this lack, who did not believe that he was falling behind, he was able to double down on what worked and to grow his career and to scale the things that he is working upon. How many of you here are actually making this mistake? We constantly live in this hurry inside your head that somehow I'm running out of time. Somehow things are not going to work out. I'll have to manage something or the other. I'll have to have massive growth in my life all of a sudden to really, 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 really make things happen and to prove to everyone how big of a success I am. No, that's only going to lead you down the drain where you chase opportunities that are not actually helpful, where you make decisions not with rationality and certainty, but with the blind hope that maybe this decision will lead me to striking the gold in my life. Well, read about all the people who went for the gold rush, and you'll see none of them got rich. None of them got successful. Why? Because they were chasing something that was not even there in that much abundance or that was not even true. But why could they not see through their judgment? Why? Because they were blinded by hope. People say we are blinded by fears, we are blinded by doubts. No, sometimes we are genuinely blinded by hope itself because we are so hopeful and we so desperately want to end this feeling of falling behind in life that we end up taking foolish decisions that push us even further back. Look, I'm not saying don't take up opportunities. I'm not saying don't chase new ideas. I'm not saying don't pursue your dreams. All I'm saying is, can you please do it from a place where you're moving towards something that inspires you rather than running away from this feeling that you are falling behind? Because the truth is, you are not. Look at where you are in life right now. Look at the standard of life you have. Compare it to what it was 10 years ago. Compare it to what it was when you were a kid. Compare it to what you expected of yourself when you were very, very, very young, and you'll see the life you're living now is already at a pretty good, pretty amazing level. Can it be better? Of course, it can be. But better according to whom? According to you. Successful according to whom? According to you. Growing according to whom? According to you. Not according to a standard that the world is setting, a goal that the world is setting, and a challenge that the world has created all of a sudden that by this age you have to achieve this milestone. By 50, you should have this. By 25, you should have this. No, you don't have to have any of that. My only question is, can you for once today stop chasing the world's race and start focusing here? Take some moments today to ask yourself, well, what do I really want? If I just stop running in this race for more, in this race for success, in this race that you know what, I actually have enough. I can do enough. I can create enough. And from that place of abundance, when you create goals for yourself, when you create visions for yourself, when you create that dream that, you know what, I want to make this happen, that's out of curiosity, not out of fear. That's out of desire, not out of desperation. And that right there is the way you start succeeding, not because you were hurried for it, but because you were okay with being where you were, and that pushed you to chase what you wanted with just full love, full presence, and full focus. And that is what ultimately created the result that you wanted. So today, just leave with this one message that no matter what happens, you're not really falling behind in life. You're doing great. You will do great. Just stop jumping from one boat to the other. Stop jumping from one race to the other and ask yourself, what do I want? Live in your own race and your own timeline, and you'll be amazed at the peace you find and the ambition and drive you get to achieve all your goals. That's a blissful state to be in. I'm super excited for every single one of you to experience it for yourself. So just sit with this question for tonight, sit with this discussion, and focus on what you want, not what the world wants. Till then, take care, and I'll see you tomorrow at the exact same time, that is 8:30 p.m., for another interesting and inspiring discussion that helps you take you to the next level. Thank you so much for being here. I'll see you tomorrow.